There we go. Stop. Drawn into this fight. not interested. Interesting of a fight. alive. Too quick to run. Just run. Okay, so I know she has to be low, so let's first start by doing some offense. No! Wow, nah, I'm getting my kill streak back. There's no way stopping me. Oh, let's get my emote claimed. I'll check that one out later. Let's get busy again. I have business to finish. Oh, they're really stopping me trying to get my crown again. targeting me, huh? Oh, wow. Oh, I guess you're still mad from earlier, I guess. Back up. Oh, wow. Well, I'm dead. I'm just getting the wholly targeted. robot. Not useful against this situation I'm in. Feel that in the energy when you guys team. I can't fight because every time I try to, I got these three little idiots over here all working together. My sanity's slowly dropping. Thank you. You don't want to do this. I just... my chat's back. Good, no lobby means it's even better. Start by getting another kill out. I'm not even trying to get crowned. GG. Bad, I didn't mean to dash towards you. Ow! I was just trying to just chill, man. I'm behind my kills again because I have a kill streak. So you don't want this smoke because Sukuna, let me kill you, my lord. Let me kill you. Wow. I have hurtful stuff too. Oh, that's where my new emote is at. Already. That's a new emote to my items. Mercy or is Kai Aura. 4,000. Should clear that kill for me. No, I'm fine. Oh my god. you. You. You think you're going? Ow. You don't want to fight me, dude. I am just a lovely farmer of kills. Nah, I'm fine. You not let me do what I want. Another one leaves? How much am I gonna make leave the lobby? What's the highest amount of kills in this lobby, by the way? I never checked. Leaderboard. Oh god, that's why. No one has... I might call up Mav. How you doing, Mav? Okay. Know what I'm doing? You know what I've been doing? Oh, wow. Ow. That hurt. I'm kind of being targeted by people right now. Know why, Luna? My crown. I have it hidden right now. I'm gonna turn off my music for a bit. I've been just chilling over here, emoting now. I should try and get more kills actually to farm up. Ow! You gay little child. Not you. You child. You dare hit me? No, I'm killing you now. I'm finishing the job. Another one on my list. I don't know how much kills I've gotten, but I'm still chilling with it. My normal amount. So how about we stop hiding my kill streak for a bit. 14. I should go back in. I'm chill long as you're chill. That's my deal. There we go. Back in the call. Just slide my earbud real quick. Ow. Man, I was just trying to chill. Unhide it until I can get a new one down. I'm decided that I don't got a kill streak anymore. How about you just messed up your full one?
Cut my locks. I kept my cold. And it was for the good of the community. She said I wasn't cooperating. But then a power outage hit, and they had no idea what they'd done. The food started to rot. The smell, unforgettable. And when the health inspector arrived, Karen tried to blame me. But what she didn't know was that I built that barn from scratch. I had the footage, the legal support, and a backup plan colder than she could handle. This is the true story of how HOA Karen hijacked my cold barn and got frozen out by her own arrogance. Watch until the end. The courtroom twist, chilling. When I retired from the Air Force, I didn't want to sit around watching paint peel off a porch swing for the rest of my life. So I bought 5 acres on the edge of a sleepy HOA-managed community in Northern California wine country and turned it into something that gave me purpose again, an orchard. Rows of plum pear and citrus trees later joined by a few heritage apple varieties for good measure. But the real heart of the operation, the thing that let me survive the brutal summer heat and the unpredictable market cycles, was my cold storage barn. That barn was no rusty metal shed. It was a fully sealed, insulated, humidity-controlled, temperature-stable fortress I designed myself and had built with commercial-grade equipment. 42 feet long reinforced doors, a 3-stage backup generator system, and a digital lock panel that only I had the codes for. It could hold up to 10 tons of perishable product and keep it stable for weeks, something almost no small farmer in the area could match. It cost me nearly $170,000 to build over the course of a year and a half. I didn't finance a dime of it. Every dollar came straight from my retirement savings paid project by project, wire by wire. I ran the electrical myself with my old Air Force buddy George, a licensed electrician. We had it inspected, top to bottom, with a permit file with every box checked. I was proud of that barn, the way a man is proud of a child he raised right. And depended on my produce staying pristine. That barn was the buffer between harvest and income. Lose the barn, lose the farm. It really was that simple. So when a woman I'd only met once, a perfectly manicured, Prada-wearing HOA president named Karen Delaney showed up at my front gate one Tuesday morning with what she called a proposal. Every alarm bell I still had in 25 years of uniform started ringing. She leaned against my fence like she already owned it, one manicured hand on her hip, clutch in the other. Her voice was syrupy sweet, in that way that sets your teeth on edge. Mr. Holloway, she began. We're launching a wonderful little initiative for the neighborhood, a community produce partnership. Isn't that just darling? I folded my arms. What exactly does that have to do with you? Well, she said, flipping a page. With theatrical flair, several residents have small backyard gardens and microgreens. The HOA is a wholesale shipping contract with a non-profit distributor in Sacramento. There was only one problem: no cold storage in the area that meets health code standards. Until we remembered her beautiful facility. I felt the hair on my neck rise. You're asking to rent it? Oh, heavens no. She laughed, as if I'd told the world's worst joke. This is a community emergency solution. The HOA board voted unanimously yesterday. Under Section 3.2 of the Civic Use Clause, the board has the right to leverage available neighborhood resources for the public good.
Well,
Your barn will be used for temporary cold storage during this quarter's shipment event. Just a week or two tops. She was dead serious. I'd read the entire CCR packet cover to cover the day I closed on the property. I knew exactly what Section 3.2 said, and it applied only to shared common facilities inside the primary HOA district. My 5 acres sat on legacy, agricultural zoning explicitly exempt. They had zero jurisdiction. Karen, I said as calmly as I could, that clause doesn't apply to my land. This parcel is not under HOA governance. Her smile froze, then tightened. Well then, I suppose we'll have to double-check those lot lines with the county. In the meantime, we'd greatly appreciate your cooperation. We could do fresh local produce for school lunch. She left a hot pink notice of temporary community use folded neatly in my mailbox on her way out, as though it were a party invitation. I called the county assessor that same afternoon. Confirmed again that my property was outside HOA control. Still the absolute certainty in her voice. Everything locked tight. Systems green. Generators on standby. Thermostat holding steady at 38 DGF. My fortress was secure. What I didn't know was that Karen Delaney wasn't the type of person who accepted no as an answer. She was the type who believed no was simply the opening bid in a negotiation she intended to win, and she had an entire board of spineless guesses ready to rubber stamp whatever she wanted. I'd fought people like her before in deserts halfway around the world, in Pentagon briefing rooms, even inside my own chain of command. But I'd never had to fight one in my own backyard.
Oh,
that
nice.
was about
Like,
to
I
change.
don't
2 days after Karen's proposal, I heard the knock. It wasn't a neighborly tap. It was the kind of heavy rhythmic pounding meant to remind me.
And there go again! Oh my god, I'm done. Literally, every time I almost get my kill streak, someone targets
By the time
me.
I wiped the grease off my hands and walked to the front door, I already knew who it would be. There she stood, Karen Delaney, clipboard gleaming in the morning sun. But this time, she hadn't come alone. To her left was a thin man in a navy polo shirt and pressed khakis HOA badge, swinging from a lanyard like a hall monitor medal. To her right stood a uniformed sheriff's deputy, young, maybe mid-20s, shifting his weight from foot to foot, with the awkward look of someone who'd rather be anywhere else. Karen didn't bother with pleasantries. Mr. Holloway, she announced loud enough for the plum trees to hear, we're following up on our community action request. I believe you received official notification regarding the temporary civic reassignment of your cold storage facility. I looked from her to the deputy and back again. You brought law enforcement to talk about a barn. The board, she said, drawing the word out like it carried the weight of federal law, has received reports of obstruction and non-cooperation. You are currently impeding access to a facility required for neighborhood resource stabilization during a declared produce emergency. I held up a hand. Let's not pretend this is real. You're a homeowners association with a zucchini surplus. That barn is private property on land zoned outside your jurisdiction. You have no legal authority here. The deputy cleared his throat. Ma'am, he said quietly to Karen, I was told this was a civil standby while you delivered paperwork. Karen flashed him the same smile she probably used on kindergarten teachers and traffic cops. Exactly, deputy. We just need an official presence while we serve this. She produced a thick manila envelope sealed with 3 pieces of tape and the HOA crest embossed in gold foil like it had come straight from the Supreme Court. I took it. Inside was an 8-page letter on heavy cream stock, complete with bullet points, highlighted code sections, and a footer that repeated North Valley Homeowners Association, community first on every page. They'd invented an entire emergency document overnight. They cited supply chain instability, regional food insecurity, and labeled my barn a critical cold chain asset under something called Emergency Preparedness Sub-Clause 9B. They were cosplaying FEMA with a laser printer. I actually laughed out loud. You're invoking emergency powers over plums. Karen's eyes narrowed as slits. If we have to escalate this to the County Zoning Commission or the State Agriculture Board, we will. But we're offering you the opportunity to cooperate voluntarily first. Then came the line that turned my stomach. Should the facility not be made available by 8:00 a.m. this Friday,
It was a terrible idea
the board
leaving
is
the guest
authorized to proceed with
for
community
last.
enforcement measures as outlined in the charter. Community enforcement measures. The phrase was so deliberately vague, it could mean anything from another strongly worded letter to a mob with bolt cutters. I turned to the deputy. Am I under any kind of order here? He shook his head immediately. No, sir. This is a civil matter. I'm just here to keep the peace while paperwork is served. I can't make you open anything. I nodded, handed him the envelope back, so he could log it as delivered, and stepped inside without another word. The second the door closed, I pulled the 4-inch CCR binder out of my office drawer, the one tabbed and highlighted like a field manual, and went hunting. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, that gave them the right to touch private agricultural property outside the HOA district. The closest clause covered shared recreational amenities, pools, parks, tennis courts, and mutual benefit assets, which only applied to land the HOA actually owned. But I wasn't stupid. They weren't planning on asking a judge. They were planning on moving trucks while everyone was still arguing about whose turn it was to read
What's
the
an
fine
M3
print.
Jason?
That night, I added a second high-security deadbolt to the barn's personnel door and mounted a new trail camera above the gate, hardwired to a cellular motion alert system that uploaded straight to the cloud. Then I called Sarah Figueroa, the land use attorney I'd met years earlier at a water rights seminar. She'd built a reputation for shredding overreaching HOAs, the way a combine harvester takes wheat. Send me everything, she said the moment I finished explaining. I'll have a cease and desist letter couriered to Karen and every board member by morning. If they put one boot on your gravel, you call me immediately. And document every single thing, James. Photos, video, timestamps, the works. Friday morning, I was up before the roosters. Thermos of coffee in hand, I parked my pickup 50 yards from the barn with a clear sight line down the driveway and waited. At 6:47 a.m., exactly, the cavalry arrived. 4 pickup trucks and 2 white rental box vans rolled up the road in formation. A dozen volunteers in screaming neon yellow HOA vests spilled out some carrying folding tables.
I'm screwed. Oh my God, Targeter!
Crates of produce. Leading the parade, sunglasses flashing in the dawn light heels, somehow not sinking into the gravel, was Karen Delaney. She marched straight to my gate.
There's so much other survivors you could have gone for, but me, straightly?
Set of bolt cutters. I stepped out of the truck boots, crunching, and walked toward them, slow and steady. Morning, I called loud enough for every phone that was already recording to pick up. Can I help you folks? Karen didn't even glance at me. We're proceeding with scheduled access. You were served proper notice. I smiled, pulled my phone out, and hit record. Let me make this crystal clear for the camera. This is private property. You are not authorized to enter. I have legal counsel on Retainer County zoning documentation and 24-hour video surveillance. If a single person steps past that fence line, you will be trespassing, and I will pursue both civil and criminal remedies to the fullest extent. For the first time, Karen's smile faltered, just a flicker. You're really gonna let all this fresh food rot? She asked, gesturing at the crates like a game show hostess, revealing a new car. I pointed to the empty pasture beside the barn. There's 30 acres of county-owned land right there. Rent a refrigerated trailer, buy ice, hire a tent. That's not my problem. The bolt cutter guy hesitated. A couple of volunteers started looking at their shoes. Karen stared at me for a long 5 seconds. Then she raised one perfectly manicured hand and made a small circling motion. The convoy reversed, turned around, and left in a cloud of dust and defeat. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Karen wasn't done. She was only warming up. I wish I could say that Friday was the last time I saw Karen's neon-vested army. It wasn't. I slept maybe 3 hours that night, every creak of the old farmhouse sounding like bolt cutters in my head. At 3:12 a.m., the motion alert on my phone lit up like a mortar flare. I was already reaching for my jeans before my eyes were fully open. The trail camera feed rolled live on the screen. 3 figures moved in the grainy infrared glow. One carried a long crowbar. One had a pair of heavy bolt cutters that caught the moonlight like a sword. The third stood back, arms folded, shorter silhouette, unmistakable blunt bob haircut, and blazer over what looked like a silk dress. Karen Delaney, directing a midnight raid on my barn like it was a Black Friday sale. I watched in real time as the man with the cutters snapped the chain on the outer gate. The crowbar guy went straight for the personnel door and started prying at the brand new deadbolt I'd installed less than 72 hours earlier. Karen just stood there calm as a conductor, pointing where she wanted the next crate stacked once they were inside. I was in the truck and tearing down the gravel road before the door even gave way. By the time my headlights swept across the scene, their 2 vehicles, an unmarked white HOA fleet van and a silver SUV, were already idling outside the broken gate. The barn door hung open like a wound. I could hear crates scraping across concrete inside. I slammed the truck into park, jumped out, and bellowed the same words I once used on a flight line when someone taxied too close to live ordnance. Step away from the equipment. Nah, inside pallets were already rolling in. 2 men in reflective vests, muscled boxes stamped with the HOA logo, and frantic Sharpie scrawl, Community Harvest. Keep cool. A third was dragging in what looked like vacuum-sealed packs of meat. Karen turned as if I were the one out of place. Mr. Holloway, she said, cool and clipped, you are trespassing on an active community distribution site. Please remain calm and step outside. You just committed felony breaking and entering, I said, voice flat. You failed to comply with a lawful community directive, she fired back. The board exercised its emergency protocol. We even left you a notice. She pointed to a laminated sheet now taped to the inside of the doorframe. I ripped it down and read it under my flashlight. Under emergency provision 4.6.
She's slate on, that's just gonna give her.
Hereby requisitions this facility for the duration of the Perishable Goods Initiative. Unauthorized interference may result in fines, sanctions, or injunction. Signed, K. Delaney, President. No judge, no seal, no sheriff. Just her signature and a smiley face sticker in the corner. I looked up at the trail camera, still blinking red in the darkness. That camera just recorded every second of this. Get your people and your produce out of my barn right now, or I call the sheriff and every news station from Sacramento to Santa Rosa. Karen didn't flinch. She looked almost serene. We've already begun operations, Mr. Holloway. It's a little late for theatrics. We'll be finished in 7 to 10 days. You'll receive fair compensation for the use of your facility. Compensation. I almost laughed. Lady, I don't want your money. I want you gone. She gave a tiny shrug as if I were a child refusing vegetables. You can't stop the momentum now. She was wrong. I already had. While she spoke, I'd forwarded the live trail cam clip to Sarah Figueroa with the subject line, Urgent, Felony in Progress. I'd also emailed a copy to the non-emergency line of the sheriff's office, with every timestamp and frame geotagged. But I didn't want this to turn into a midnight brawl with volunteers caught in the crossfire. So I backed out of the barn, got in my truck, killed the headlights, and waited 50 yards down the road, engine idling, watching them like a forward observer. Between 3:30 and 5:00 a.m., they moved 4 full pallets inside tomatoes, cucumbers, stone fruit, leafy greens, and God help us, vacuum-sealed pork shoulders and frozen fish in cheap styrofoam coolers. None of it was pre-chilled. None of it was monitored. They just stacked it like cordwood in a building they didn't understand. My cold storage barn isn't a walk-in fridge you flip on with a light switch. It's a precision ecosystem, slow-ramp compressor circulating fans, humidity trays, and a 3-stage generator handshake that takes 45 seconds to engage properly. There's exactly one emergency bypass switch, and it sits behind a locked panel only I have the key for. At 5:07 a.m., their last taillights disappeared down the road. Karen was the final one out.
No, you wouldn't be
She
stupid,
slapped
because
the
that's
cheap
not.
hardware
No,
store
that is
padlock
fake.
onto my broken hasp, gave
Oh,
it a
'cause we did a
satisfied
fake.
tug, and drove off. I sat there in the dark until the fog started lifting, then walked back to the barn on foot.
5,
The ridiculous
6,
laminated
7, that's
requisition
real.
notice fluttered on the fence post like surrender flags.
Yeah, so we
I
need
stared at it for a long time. This wasn't just trespassing.
real.
This was war, and they had just loaded my barn with live ammunition they had no idea how to handle. Monday morning, the invasion went from covert to
This
carnal.
one,
By Monday morning,
1,
Karen had upgraded from midnight burglary to full
2,
daylight occupation,
3,
like
4,
she'd decided
5,
secrecy
6,
was
7,
for
this
amateurs.
is real.
I came back from town with a load of irrigation fittings and found 2 volunteers in neon vests standing at the corner of my orchard road like they were traffic cops at a parade. One held a walkie-talkie, the other waved cars through, with the confidence of a man who'd once directed parking at church.
Safe.
Behind them, a convoy of unmarked box trucks rumbled straight onto my property, as if the gate had never existed. I dropped the fittings in the truck bed, grabbed my phone, and jogged after them on foot. The air already carried the faint sweet stink of bruised peaches left too long in the sun. Inside the barn, it was organized chaos. The refrigeration system was completely dark, no hum, no compressor kick, no soft green glow from the thermostat. The temperature had already climbed past 50 Pagani. Crates were stacked 3 high in places blocking the airflow vents I'd spent weeks calibrating. Someone had dragged in folding tables and set up what looked like a farmer's market sorting station in the middle of my loading bay. A woman in a Harvest Together t-shirt was making smoothies with my emergency outlet and a blender the size of a jet engine. Karen stood near the back wall, arms folded, barking orders like a quartermaster on steroids. I walked
Come
straight
here,
up
boy.
to her. You
I
have
want to
30
just give you a
seconds to
hug.
tell me why I shouldn't have every one of you arrested right now.
No, my favorite item.
Slowly, as if I were a mild inconvenience. Mr. Holloway, we're in the middle of critical setup. You're disrupting a sanctioned community operation. If you have grievances,
2,
please submit them in writing to the board. You cut my locks. You disabled my refrigeration system. You're storing unrefrigerated meat in a sealed building. Do you even comprehend what you've done?
Help me.
She sighed the sigh of a woman who'd explained the same thing to a toddler
Okay, I got time to run. I'm
8,000
gonna run
times.
now.
Our HVAC contractor assured us the system simply needed time to stabilize after the initial startup. I barked a laugh that echoed off the insulated walls. Your HVAC contractor flipped the emergency bypass backwards. You've turned a precision cold chain
Fake.
facility into a $50,000
Get rid of you
greenhouse.
quick.
In about 6 more hours, every pound of food in here is going to be a biohazard.
That's a real.
A volunteer nearby chose that exact moment to drop a crate of watermelons. One split open on impact, spraying pink pulp across the concrete like a crime scene. Karen didn't even blink. We have rotation schedules.
GG.
Most of this product moves out within 72 hours. We only needed sorting and staging space. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Sheriff report filed. Keep filming. Do not touch anything yourself. I raised the phone and started a slow, deliberate pan across the entire disaster zone. Wilting greens sweating in plastic bags. Eggs beating with condensation.
I missed my
berries,
punch.
already fuzzing with mold meat packs, beginning to bloat. I narrated in a calm, ice-cold voice. This is James Holloway, owner of Parcel 47B Orchard, Line North Valley Township. The North Valley HOA has illegally occupied my private cold storage facility.
That's a 1x1x1.
Refrigeration is offline.
Means I can get a
Temperature currently
lot of
58
good
Pagani and
farming stuff on them.
Unknown parties have tampered with the generator bypass. All food inside is at risk of total loss. Karen stepped directly into frame. Filming is prohibited inside HOA-sanctioned initiatives. This is private property, I said. Smile for the lawsuit. She opened her mouth, closed it, then spun on her heel and marched off to yell at someone else. For the next 3 days, the barn became the eye of a Category 5 Karen. 7 trucks in total. Volunteers everywhere, church groups bored, retirees, teenagers looking for community service hours. They brought plastic bins, label makers, a microwave, 2 box fans. And I swear on my discharge papers, a cotton candy machine, someone plugged into the compressor outlet. They listed my barn address on Nextdoor and the North Valley Food Exchange website
avoid her.
as the official. Regional distribution.
Help me, Shaletsky!
They printed glossy flyers
so
with my
clutch.
exact GPS coordinates and taped one to my mailbox with a handwritten note.
No.
Please trim the north fence line before Saturday's Harvest Day celebration. Thank you, HOA board.
Keep missing, keep missing,
I
keep
lost
missing,
a
keep missing.
$3,000 restaurant contract because my own plums were trapped in my garage, softening by the hour. I lost sleep. I lost any remaining faith in human decency. Sarah filed for an emergency injunction on Tuesday. The courts told us to come back Thursday. Karen scheduled her big public event
You're
for
very
Saturday
rushing this
Live
kill.
Music Food Trucks County Health
Well,
Department
huh.
ribbon cutting the works. She was going to turn my barn into a photo op. Wednesday night, the weather shifted. A cold front rolled in off the Pacific, bringing wind and scattered thunderstorms. Power lines
I
started
think she
dancing.
noticed.
I stood on my porch watching heat lightning flicker on the horizon and felt something settle in my chest. They had no idea what was coming, because my barn isn't just a building, it's a machine. And when you treat a precision machine like a community bulletin board,
No.
sooner or later, the machine bites back. Thursday evening, the first flicker came. Porch lights blinked once, twice, then held. PG&E sent the alert at 6:03 p.m. Scheduled power balancing in your area. Estimated duration, 2-3 hours. I looked toward the barn. No lights, no hum, nothing. I grabbed a flashlight and walked down. The cheap padlock Karen had slapped on my door snapped off with one twist.
No!
The moment I pushed the door open, warm, wet air rolled out.
Well, mass infection killed me off
Temperature on the
after
wall
all.
gauge, 63 DGF and climbing. The generator never kicked in, because some genius on Karen's crew had forced the bypass switch the wrong direction and jammed a screwdriver in the relay to hold it open. When the grid dipped, the handshake failed. Compressors stayed dead. Backup batteries drained, trying to wake a system that had been lobotomized. I walked the aisles with my phone light. Leafy greens had collapsed into black slime. Peaches looked like deflated balloons. Eggs sweated rivers. The meat corner was already developing its own atmosphere. I filmed everything narrating in the same flat voice I once used for after-action reports. By the time I locked the door behind me and walked back to the house, I wasn't angry anymore. I was calm. Because tomorrow morning, Karen was going to open that door in front of volunteers, sponsors, and local TV cameras. And the barn was finally going to speak for itself. Friday, 9:42 p.m. I sat on the porch steps with a fresh mug of coffee gone cold in my hand and watched the barn the way a sniper watches a kill zone, quiet, patient, certain. Inside that building were now more than 6,000 pounds of other people's pride, other people's labor, other people's donations, all slowly cooking in a metal box that had been deliberately crippled. The air was thick with the first sweet, sick notes of rot. Flies had already found the gap under the door. Tomorrow, the smell would be a living thing. I didn't grin, I didn't cheer, I just waited. Saturday, 7:00 a.m. sharp, the first HOA van rolled in, like the opening act
That might
of
be
a circus
GG for her.
nobody asked for. Karen was driving pastel blazer, crisp, ponytail swinging clipboard, riding shotgun. She parked nose to nose with my truck, hopped out in heels that should have snapped on gravel, and gave me the breeziest little finger wave. Morning, Mr. Holloway. We'll be out of your hair by mid-afternoon. Feel free to join the celebration if the spirit moves you. I stayed on the top step, arms folded, and said absolutely nothing. She turned her back on me, keyed in the cheap padlock code she'd set herself 1234 because of course it was, and swung the barn door wide. The stench rolled out like a physical wall. It wasn't just bad, it was biblical. Karen's entire body locked up mid-step. One
Time
hand
to
flew her
walk the
nose,
plank.
the other clamped over her mouth. The clipboard slipped from her fingers and clattered to the concrete. Behind her, a teenage volunteer in a Harvest Together shirt bounced up with a box of promotional flyers and a bright smile that died the instant she crossed the threshold. She gagged so hard she dropped the box. Flyers scattered like white flags. Karen spun around, eyes watering. Go get the sanitizing crew, right now. There was no sanitizing crew. There was only the reek of 6,000 pounds of ruined food announcing itself to the California morning. Flies poured out in a black cloud. The temperature inside had hit 68 Degrees overnight. Condensation ran down every plastic crate like sweat. Greens had liquefied into black soup. Peaches looked like they'd been punched. The meat and fish corner had bloated and split. Grayish liquid seeped across the floor in slow, viscous rivers. One crate of tomatoes had burst, completely painting the concrete the color of dried blood. Volunteers started backing away, hands over faces, some retching openly. Someone whispered, "This is bad." Another voice higher, "We can't give this to schools." Karen found her voice thin and cracking. "It's salvageable. We just need to isolate the affected." She never finished the sentence. A white county health department SUV followed immediately by Deputy Collins's cruiser turned into my driveway, lights off, but presence loud. Deirdre Pike, the inspector I'd met once at a growers meeting, 50-something wiry, zero tolerance for nonsense, stepped out, already pulling on purple nitrile gloves. Deputy Collins parked behind her and gave me a single nod that said, "I saw your footage. We're here." Karen rushed forward, arms waving like she could shoo the whole disaster away. "There's been a minor refrigeration setback," she babbled. "Temporary power fluctuation, contractor error, totally containable." Deirdre raised one gloved hand. "Step back, ma'am. Now." She walked straight into the barn. The change on her face was instant, jaw clenched, nostrils flaring. She moved methodically between the aisles, checking labels, tapping thermometers.
Someone fight back.
To hang, shining her flashlight into corners where the worst of it pooled. 10 silent minutes later, she came back to the threshold, peeled off the gloves with deliberate snaps, and looked Karen dead in the eye. "This facility is hereby declared a level 2 contamination site. Nothing, I repeat, nothing leaves this building for human or animal consumption. Your operation is shut down
forgetting about that stupid
immediately.
sword.
Full administrative review and sampling will follow." Karen's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "But this is an HOA community initiative. I don't care if it's the second coming catered by Jesus himself," Deirdre said. "That barn is full of rotting food. If one child had eaten from this, we'd be talking hospital beds and lawsuits you can't spell." Deputy Collins stepped past her boots, crunching on broken eggshell. He took in the tampered breaker panel, the screwdriver still wedged in the bypass like a confession, the cheap padlock fragments on the ground. He looked at me. "You didn't authorize anyone to touch this electrical panel. Not a living soul." He turned to Karen. "Ma'am, disabling a commercial refrigeration system without owner consent, resulting in mass spoilage, is a lot more than trespass. We're looking at criminal negligence at minimum." Karen's face went the color of spoiled milk. Behind her, volunteers were scattering. Phones were out. Someone had already live-streamed the smell. The Channel 9 news van screeched in before the dust settled, a reporter leaping out with a cameraman jogging to keep up. Karen tried one last time, voice trembling with desperation. "This was a logistical tragedy, not," I finally spoke. "No, Karen, this was arrogance with a clipboard." And for the first time since she'd stepped onto my land, she had absolutely nothing left to say. The next 45 minutes were pure, beautiful chaos, the kind you can't script and can't unsee. Deputy Collins started taking names and statements like a man checking dog tags after a friendly fire incident. Every volunteer who had touched a crate, moved a pallet, or even breathed inside the barn got asked the same 3 questions. Who told you you had permission to be here? 2. Did you personally witness or participate in cutting locks or altering electrical panels? 3. Are you experiencing any nausea, dizziness, or other symptoms right now? Most of them looked like they were about to cry. One kid, 19, maybe 20, actually did throw up behind a peach tree. Deirdre Pike stood at the barn door with a roll of red biohazard tape and turned the entire building into a crime scene cliche. No one in, no one out, until the hazmat contractor arrived. She had already called them. was 20 minutes out. Karen had gone from Commander-in-Chief to Ghost. She kept trying to herd her remaining loyalists into a tight circle, whispering furiously, phone glued to her ear. I caught fragments. Total contractor error. No, we never touched the panel. Spin it as an act of God. Brad, where the hell is our attorney? The Channel 9 reporter, a guy named Justin with perfect hair and zero chill, shoved a microphone into her face the second she broke cover. Ms. Delaney residents are saying the HOA broke into a private barn and destroyed thousands of pounds of donated food. Do you have a comment? Karen tried the smile. It cracked like cheap plaster. This is being blown completely out of proportion. We experienced an unfortunate technical malfunction during a community feeding program. The board will be fully transparent. I stepped into frame calm as Sunday morning. Justin, for the record, the HOA cut my locks at 3:17 a.m. Wednesday. They disabled my commercial refrigeration system without permission. They stored unrefrigerated meat and produce for 72 hours. I have 4K video of the entire thing. I held up my phone. The trail cam clip was already cued, Karen in living color, arms folded, watching her crew snap my gate chain like it was Christmas ribbon. The reporter's eyes went wide. Can we air that? It's yours, I said. Public domain the moment they crossed my fence line. Karen lunged for the phone. That footage is obtained illegally and will be... Deputy Collins materialized between us. Ma'am, step back, now. Her hand dropped like it had touched a hot stove. At 8:03 a.m., the hazmat truck rolled in big, white box red chevrons. Two guys in full Tyvek suits looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. They took one sniff, looked at Deirdre, and she just pointed inside. Everything goes. Total loss. Bill the North Valley HOA. The first pallet came out 20 minutes later, a sloshing, dripping mess of what used to be zucchini and pride. The smell followed it like a loyal dog. Volunteers who had shown up in cheerful t-shirts were now gagging into the sleeves of those same shirts. Someone started a group chat titled Harvest Day Disaster. Screenshots flew. Sponsors bailed in real time. The elementary school that was supposed to receive fresh local peaches sent a furious email to the HOA inbox CC'd to every parent in the district. Sarah's text lit up my phone again. Insurance adjuster en route. County AG commissioner wants temperature logs. Channel 9 just requested an exclusive sit-down. You officially broke the internet, James. I didn't answer yet. I was watching Karen. She had backed all the way to the fence line, phone still at her ear voice, climbing octave by octave. No Brad punitive is not an option. We have sovereign immunity language. What do you mean the bylaws don't cover criminal acts? A second news van arrived. Then a third. Someone started a TikTok live. By 10:00 a.m., the top trending hashtag in the greater Sacramento area was hashtag Karen's Rotten Barn. I finally walked over to her. Not to gloat, I was done with that. Just to finish it. You had every chance to rent a refrigerated trailer for $3,000, I said quietly. Instead, you chose to steal my barn. This is what theft costs, when you steal from someone who actually knows how the machine works. She stared at me, mascara starting its slow surrender down her cheeks. This will ruin me, she whispered. No, Karen, you ruined you. The barn just held up the mirror. Deputy Collins approached with a clipboard. Ma'am, I need you to come with me to the cruiser for a formal statement. And I'm going to need your phone. That trail cam video has you on scene during a nighttime entry. For the first time in my life, I saw Karen Delaney completely, utterly speechless. She handed over the phone like a prisoner surrendering a weapon. By noon, the barn was empty, scrubbed with bleach, and sealed under county order. 6,412 pounds of food, documented to the ounce, had been loaded into a sealed waste trailer and driven away to a landfill that charged by the ton. The final invoice, hand-delivered to the HOA clubhouse that same afternoon, came to $11.847 just for disposal. The refrigeration repair estimate landed 2 hours later, another $18,600. And Sarah's lawsuit, trespass, conversion, negligence, interference with business...
Time to be killer a second time.
...already filed in Superior Court. Karen didn't go home that night. Rumor was she checked into a hotel under her maiden name. I went home, poured a small bourbon, and sat on the porch until the stars came out. The air finally smelled like orchard.
First get off the noob.
Not rot, just earth and night, and the quiet hum of a barn waiting to be turned back on this time on my terms. The aftermath didn't creep in, it detonated. By Sunday morning, the story had legs all the way to San Francisco. Channel 9 ran the trail cam clip on loop, complete with a dramatic slow-motion zoom on Karen watching the bolt cutters do their work.
Oh, you're
Someone
late right
added
now.
ominous music and a freezer emoji. It hit 1 million views before lunch. The local paper's headline the next day was brutal. Rotting responsibility. HOA, President's Emergency Seizure of Private Barn ends in $60,000 plus disaster. Marla Chen, the reporter who'd interviewed me the week before, quoted me Deirdre Pike, the power company engineer, and even a tearful volunteer who admitted she'd been told the farmer had agreed he was just being difficult. Karen's only statement was a single emailed line. I regret any unintended consequences stemming from our community feeding effort. That phrase became a meme by noon. Sarah filed the civil suit Monday at 8:03 a.m. sharp. We started in small claims, $48,320. Documented losses, but the moment Karen's attorney tried to claim I had consented by inaction, Sarah amended to Superior Court and added punitive counts. Discovery was going to be
I see you,
delicious.
Elliot.
Meanwhile, the county kept turning screws. Tuesday, the
killing
Infrastructure
this
Compliance
Elliot. I
Office
hate
cited
Elliot's.
the HOA for unauthorized modification of certified electrical infrastructure. Fine, $12,500. Payable immediately. Wednesday,
Done.
the Agricultural
I am.
Commissioner issued a formal cease
Send the one
and
down.
desist against any further North Valley food exchange
down.
activities until a full audit.
Found.
They also quarantined every grower who had delivered produce to my barn.
What's up, mate?
No one could sell until cleared. Half the backyard gardeners in 3 zip codes suddenly hated Karen more than I did. Thursday, the HOA's general liability carrier sent a reservation of rights letter that was 23 pages of polite corporate panic.
And
Translation. We might not cover this. Friday, 2 board members resigned by email. Brad, the treasurer, tried to call an emergency meeting and discovered only 4 people still showed up, none of them willing to sit in
She's
the
got a
president's
block.
chair. Karen stopped answering her phone. Her Facebook went private. Her LinkedIn vanished. I, on the other hand, had never been busier. I spent the week rebuilding the barn from the inside out. New insulation panels, new flooring epoxy, new compressors, new backup relays with triple redundant fail-safes. I upgraded the generator handshake so thoroughly that a lightning strike on the ridge would still keep the place at 36 DGF.
can't stack
I also
countries.
added upgrades Karen's fiasco paid for. 4 4K cameras with infrared and audio. A steel roll-up door rated for hurricane wind. Key card
She already
plus
has a
biometric
punch,
access
but
my
sadly,
thumbprint,
that's the end
and
of
exactly
her.
1 spare card.
Now 2
I keep in a
times.
safe.
You're next.
A
Since
cloud-connected monitoring system
literally
that
only having
texts me
80
if the
health
temperature
total.
moves half a degree.
And you haven't gotten your
And
full
because I have a sense of
self-revive
humor,
until you
a
get your
7-inch touchscreen
dagger
on the
in.
outside wall that now displays live internal temp, humidity, and a single line of scrolling text. Private property. Trespassers will be recorded, reported, and publicly humiliated. While the contractors work neighbors I barely knew started stopping by. Some brought beer. Some brought apologies on behalf of the entire community. One lady handed me a pie and said my husband was on the fence committee that approved Karen's budget for this.
Found
He
ya.
hasn't slept
What you
in a week.
hiding?
I ate the pie. It was excellent.
Next
Saturday night, Sarah called.
Yes.
Preliminary insurance appraisal just came in. Total hard losses, $48,320. Equipment depreciation and decontamination, another $19,800. Lost contracts
Now you already have
and crop
farming.
damage, $14,000. We're north of $82,000 before punitives. I listened. They ready to settle.
Ow,
Not
ow.
even close. Karen's attorney filed a motion to
Now I got
dismiss.
strength and speed.
Claims the HOA has sovereign-like immunity under California Civil Code 5800 whatever. It's nonsense, but it buys them 30 days. Let them have their 30 days, I said. I've waited longer for worse things. Sunday I opened the barn for the first time since the cleanup. I rolled the door up.
You are
slowly.
not seriously trying to loop
The new
me.
compressors kicked in with a
Well,
satisfying
I hate this
thrum.
because this guest is looping
Cold air
me.
rolled out like a glacier's breath. The touchscreen lit up green.
Push
Temperature
off.
36.9 DGF.
Oh my god!
58%. System status, nominal. I stood there a
Use
long
Infernal
time,
Cry
letting
to
the
cut him
cold
off,
soak into my
but-
skin. Then I did something I hadn't done since the
Since I
day
know
broke
he just
ground
used
on the
block,
place.
I should
I
be
walked
fine.
inside, closed the door behind me, and just listened. No voices, no clipboards.
But you
no
gotta be
smoothies
kidding
being blended
me.
on my emergency circuit.
Bro,
Just
what
low,
the
steady
f
heartbeat
are these
of a
people
machine
doing?
Exactly what it was built to do. I'm
Literally.
on my land.
Half the
Under
time
my
I'm
land.
literally killing people and then
Monday
there's a
morning,
random
a
guest
envelope
loop me
appeared in
around.
my mailbox. No return address.
Much more XP.
Inside
Almost
was
got
a single
mouse up
sheet
too,
of
so
heavy
that's good.
stationery and a short handwritten note. Mr. Holloway, I have no right
Doggos
to ask for your
next.
understanding,
That
and I
is
won't
a
insult you by trying.
yay!
But my
The
daughter
worst
did
one I
this.
want to go against is a
Far better
delirious. So
than
I'm
you,
gonna equip
or
2
thought I
times so I can
I'm
backstab him.
sorrier than these words can carry. Your orchard is beautiful. I hope it bears 1,000 perfect harvests. Maureen
I
Delaney,
am going
Karen's
to
mother. I read
absolutely
it
annoy
twice,
a
folded it, and slipped it into the same drawer where I keep my discharge papers and the deed to the land. Forgiveness is a personal thing. I wasn't there yet, but I understood where monsters come from. They come from living rooms and little girls who were once told they could fix the world if they just tried hard enough. Sometimes the world fixes them instead.
Hello,
The court date
delirious.
landed on a Tuesday in late October.
Okay, let's get
the kind
this
of crisp
started.
golden morning that makes Northern California
Let's just
feel like
start up
God's
one of
own
those.
backyard. I arrived at the county courthouse early, parked under the same sycamores that had been dropping leaves since 1912, and took a seat on the wooden bench.
You gotta be
outside
kidding me.
Courtroom 3B. I wasn't nervous. I was ready. Sarah showed
Slow
up
this real
15
quick.
minutes later, looking like vengeance, in a charcoal suit hair pinned back tablet in one hand.
Bro, you gotta be kidding me! I am the first person he goes after. Seriously?
Let's go collect. We watched the HOA contingent file
Stupid.
through security, like a funeral procession that had lost its way. Brad, the treasurer, was sweating through his golf shirt. 2 remaining board members trailed behind him, eyes fixed on the floor. Bringing up the rear was Karen. No heels today. No blazer.
I'm
Just a plain
done.
black suit hair, pulled back severely face, scrubbed of every trace of the woman who once leaned on my fence like she owned